everyone. We are Group 91 from Tutorial 10. I am Bushra Anwar with my team members Minika, Ambar Amin, and Muhammad Ali will present our topic Newspaper Industry Decline and Privacy Law Enforcement in the UK. This presentation explored the ethical collapse of the UK newspaper industry, particularly focusing on the phone hacking scandal that peaked in 2011. That crisis exposed the extent to which some media outlets would go to the boost digital marketing performance, crossing moral and legal boundaries by unlawfully accessing private voicemails. Our objective is to understand how digital marketing metrics like click-through rates and shareability reshape journalism, leading to unethical behaviors. We will examining the context of the scandal, its legal and ethical dimensions, stakeholder impact, marketing failures, theoretical perspective, global comparison, and finally propose practical solutions for creating a more ethical and sustainable media environment. We hope our presentation not only helps you understand what went wrong, but also suggests how the media industry can evolve with integrity. Let's now begin by understanding why this topic matters in the first place. Why this topic matters. The rapid evolution of digital marketing has revolutionized journalism. Instead of delivering unbiased, fact-based reporting, many media organizations now prioritize content that will gain maximum transition online. This includes emotionally charged stories, controversial headlines, and dramatic narratives. All stories all tailored to what social media and SEO algorithm favors. Algorithms don't value truth, they value engagement. The phone hacking scandal was one extreme result of this digital evolution. It wasn't an isolated incident, but rather a symptom of a deeper ethical decay. Journalists turn into digital marketers, private data into content, and audiences into attention sources. This topic matters because it affects how we consume information, trust media, and uphold democratic accountability. If these trends continue unchecked, the integrity of journalism and the public trust may be permanently compromised. Now come to next slide. How digital marketing shapes journalism. Digital marketing has transformed not only how news is distributed but how it's produced. Historically, journalism was gained by editorial standard and public service. Today, content is increasingly shaped by what performs best in the digital market. Metrics such as click-through rate, bounce rate, and social media share now heavily influence editorial decisions. Search by Henry 2024 and Hayes 2022 confirms that stories optimized for click-through rates, dwell time, and social media shareability tend to dominate news feeds. Meanwhile, Bidding 2019 highlights how personalization tools ignore user consent, often breaching privacy in pursuit of hyper-targeted content. This has major implications. News is no longer a neutral information source. It is engineered to provoke engagement. Ethical consideration take a back seat as journalists race for clicks and relevance. The phone hacking scandal is a prime example where sensationalism was pursued through illegal means. Thus, understanding this content is key to analyzing the ethical breakdowns in journalism today. Now I will go to the next slide, context, stakeholder and impact. The phone hacking scandal affected more than just the news industry. It had deep consequences for multiple stakeholder groups, each of whom suffered unique harms. Most immediately, the victims of phone hacking experienced severe breaches of privacy. Their voicemail intended to be private were accessed without consent and used to generate sensational headlines. The public became more skeptical of media institutions, confident in the press as a pillar of democracy encoded. Regulators and lawmakers were criticized for their intention. The failure to enforce data privacy laws or reform outdated codes contributed to the scandal magnitude. In short, that wasn't just a media problem, it was a social rate. The ripple effects highlight why stronger ethical safeguards are essential. Now my group member Amber Amin will present their all slides.
Hello everyone, my name is Ambar Amin. I'm going to I'm here to present the co-presentation. The topic is firstly, I would like to mention timelines and root causes. The unethically practice of phone hacking began in the early 2000s. Initially, they began the early 2000s unnoticed. It gradually became the normalized in several newsrooms due to immense pressure to deliver exclusive stories. The scandal interrupted in 2011 when it was revealed that journalists from the News for the World had accessed the voicemail of murdered schoolgirl Millie Dollar. The root causes were systematic. One major, one major factor was the economically decline for the print journalism. This forced the media organizers to first quickly to digitalized platform where became the audience attention to the most certificate recovery. Second is the regulatory failure played a key role in this scenario. The Press Complaints Commission for the lack both prevent or punish ethically violence. Movement data protection laws were satisfied, failing to address the digital privacy challenges. The third is newsroom culture environment became the toxic. The journalists were rewarded for the security exclusive regardless of how they get them. The deeply embedded these problems were in the media systems. Now I'm going to the next slide, which is the legal and ethically failure. The phone hacking, the scandal was both legal violation and normal collapse. From the legal standpoint, the unauthorized access of voicemail protection. According to the UK Act 1998, which protects the individual from misuse of their personal data, journalists accuse the private communication without any consent, breaching core principles, lawful data handling enforcement act 1998, Authenticity Article 8, European Convention on Human Rights, ECHR, called 2021, guarantees everyone right to respect for private and, and family life. From an ethical perceptions, three moral frames after insights like deontology, utilitarianism, and untrue virtual ethics. This looks at the result and an action. The harm caused is greater than the good. The action is wrong. In this case, the harm caused done the families and loss of public trust, I think, is much bigger than useful information. These focuses good character values and honesty, respect, integrity. The journalist, well, there the company didn't show the values and about the profit. Overall, this means media should have to focus truths helping the people, not just for getting the views or values or a make to money. Now we are going to the slide number next, which is the digital marketing versus ethical boundaries. Journalism now focuses more the digital marketing, aiming for clicks instead of truth and clicks. The deep KPIs like CTR, click-through rate, dual time, and inabilities have the replaced tradition values, and media countries prioritize what sells over what informed to stay financially stable. This results several strategy missteps. First is a risk replacement quality as a benchmark of the success. The second is audience data were weaponized without any consent, the personalized the content that would be the provoke engagement. The third and lastly, I would like to share the short-term traffic gains were the prioritized over long-term brand trust and significantly public trust in the media encoding, which has been long-term implication for the SWIC participation. Importantly, market strategies provoke ethically cost. By this use, marketing, digital marketing is not inheriting unethically, lacking the ethically boundaries, can lead the exploitations. Companies should have the prioritize and credibility and respect over more clicks. Transparency of ethically practices, user consent, data protection are vital for a long-term trust and sustainability. This is the end of my presentation. Thank you so very much for listening and attention. I would like to Mr. Ali to present the rest of slides. Thank you.
My name is Muhammad Ali and we present the critical models used. To fully understand the ethical background in these scandals, we apply to foundational critical models, Mason-Purpose framework, and Furedi information ethics. Mason-Purpose models privacy, accuracy, property, and accessibility. First is privacy. Privacy is a generalistic introduced into the personal lives of individual by hacking voicemail. Accuracy. Some stories were resorted to boost engagement, compromising journalistic integrity. Property. Some personal information was used without ownership or consent. Accessibility. Data was obtained illegally by passing appropriate and ethical channels. The next model is for ready information. Ethics, on the other hand, suggest that ethical responsibilities increase with the informational power. In digital environment, those who control information flow, like media organizations, hold in Maurice normal responsibility. These outlet fail to act as a responsible information agent. Instead, that exploited sensitive data for attention and profit. Together, these models show that the issue was not about isolated mistakes. It was about systematic structural failure. Organizations prioritize business metrics over ethical values. These theories help frame this scandal as not just as lapse in judgment, but a collapse in institutional moralities. The next slide is data analysis, evidence, and industry trends. The decline is ethical journalism did not happen in a vacuum. It concerned with the clear variable industry trend. Economics pressure was a major catalyst from 2000 to 2023. Print media revenue dropped by approximately 40 billion King 2024. This forced news organization to pivot aggressively toward digital platform to remain financially valuable. Digital engagement quickly become the primary currency. 71% of UK audience now consume new online Ofcom 2024. This means that content must be optimized for online discovery, pushing outlet toward the format and stories that favor visibility over integrity. Some this analysis demonstrate the need to realign digital strategies with ethical values. Metrics matter, but so do moral sustainable success in journalism must be measured not only in traffic but in truth and trust. The next slide is data analysis, global comparison, what works elsewhere. Examining how other countries handle media ethics provides a variable insight. Unlike the UK self-regulatory model, many nations employ independent regulatory framework backed by the legal authority and culture reinforcement. Take Germany, for example, the country enforcement are legally binding press code through independent regulators. These bodies have the power to enforce censorship and ensure compliance. The result is a media system where journalistic misconduct are in both rare and severely punishment. In Norway, ethics is embedded in journalism education. Young journalistic are trained to the prioritized moral responsibility before entering the workforce. The Australia has taken a more investigative route. It regularly deploy Royal Commission regularly empower intake inquiries that expose one wrongdoing and recommended structure inform. These global models offer clear lesson for the UK. Self-regulation is insufficient. The second is ethics must be built into the professional training. The third is regulatory bodies real enforcement power. These comparisons prove the ethical journalism is achievable. What missing in this UK is not knowledge, it's political and institutional will reform it possible, but it must be retentional, structural, and enforced from outside the industry itself. And the next group presentation, my Panika. Thanks.
Hi, I am Menaka, and I'm going to explain the proposed solution short versus long term. To address the ethical failures in the UK newspaper industry, we must propose solutions that target both immediate problems and long term structural change. A reactive surface level fix won't be enough. Deep transformation is required at multiple levels. In the short term, media companies must establish independent oversight bodies that have real enforcement authority, immediately update internal ethical codes and make them mandatory, implement editorial review process that flag unethical practices, particularly around data privacy and consent. In the long term, change must begin with education and leadership. Journalism programs should embed ethics and digital responsibility as core subjects. Editors and marketing executives must lead by example, ensuring that profit is never prioritized over principle. Ethical KPIs should be introduced. Credibility, transparency, and audience trust should be measured alongside engagement metrics. As Sora et al. 2021 suggests, ethical leadership and accountability must become performance indicators. It's time to recognize that ethical journalism it's not a niche, it's a competitive advantage. Audience are increasingly aware and cautious of how their data is used. A trustworthy media brand can stand out in a crowded digital market, ensuring long term sustainability and public respect. Ethical reform isn't optional, it's essential to preserve democracy, media freedom, and audience dignity. Now, we are moving to the next slide digital strategy, a call for ethical marketing. Ethical digital marketing is no longer a luxury, it's a necessity. One major shift must be the rethinking of KPIs. Success should not be measured purely by clicks, shares, or dwell time. Instead, we must prioritize credibility, audience trust, and compliance with ethical standards. Technology must also play a role. AI and machine learning tools can be used to detect manipulation, fact check stories, and flag breaches in data concern, CyanPad 2024. Instead of using algorithms to exploit attention, let's use them to safeguard integrity. Ethical marketing is also smart marketing. As Davis 2024 notes, consumers increasingly demand that their data be handled responsibly. Brands that respect user privacy, disclose data practices, and refrain from manipulation will build loyalty. Ultimately, the goal is to align digital innovation with ethical responsibility. The pursuit of growth must not come at the cost of human dignity. If we embed ethics into the very design of our digital strategies, we can create a media ecosystem that is not only profitable but principled, inclusive, and sustainable. Finally, conclusion and recommendations. In conclusion, the phone hacking scandal exposed a deep ethical crisis in the UK media. It wasn't just a story of individual wrongdoing. It was the result of systemic, sorry, systemic pressure poor regulation, and a cultural shift that replaced journalistic duty with digital metrics. This scandal reminds us of what's at stake. Journalism is not just a business, it's a public trust. When media companies chase virality at the expense of accuracy and ethics, the consequence ripple through society. Trust is eroded, victims are harmed, and the press, one of the pillars of democracy, loses its legitimacy. Our key recommendations are: reform regulations, move from self regulation to independent, enforceable oversight, embed ethics in journalism education and editorial decision making, redefine KPIs to include credibility and transparency alongside digital engagement. Use technology responsibility. AI should protect audiences, not exploit them. Engage consumers through clear data, consent, and privacy practices. As EAVI 2021 reminds us, freedom of the press and privacy rights can coexist, but they must be supported by clear boundaries, strong leadership, and unwavering ethical commitment. Thank you for your attention. We hope this presentation has shown that ethical journalism in the digital age is not just possible, it is essential. This is the slide about references. Here are the sources we used, including government reports, academic research, and industry analysis. These provided us with insights into ethics, law, media practices, and digital marketing trends. Thank you. Thank you for your time and attention. We hope this presentation gave you a deeper understanding of ethical challenges in digital journalism and marketing. Thank you.